So I guess we'll get to the nitty gritty. Well,
that?
a few weeks ago, well, maybe about a month ago now, Mayweather said, May 2nd, come on, Pacquiao, let's do this.
Finally. Finally. I'm glad he finally speaking out. I know a lot of people, think Mayweather ducked this person, ducked that person, none of it's true, though. None of it's true.
So one of the more interesting things that me personally, that I always looked at is in the beginning, people always talking about at the time they were saying the purse was going to be about 160 million, something around there, when Mayweather offered Pacquiao 40 million. And now you hear that 40 million stay the same, but you hear the total amount going up to 400 million. But it was originally around 160 million when he did this, which is 25% of the cut. Now, people try and go in and say he threw that out there at him because it was just a low number, just to say he tried to make the fight happen. But people forget that Mayweather does all the promotions. That's out of his pocket. So in my mind, I was thinking part of that is because he's paying for everything. It's not just like a 50-50 split that a lot of people are saying should happen would be Mayweather losing money.
Yeah, I mean, this fight is hard to talk about. Because, okay, I'm a boxing fan. So if I break down the fight, it don't matter who the fighters is. I'm just gonna, if I see the fighters, break down this skill versus that skill, It doesn't matter who the people are. But when you talk about Mayweather and Pacquiao, people seem to choose sides. So if I'm saying something that a Manny fan doesn't agree with, or a Mayweather fan doesn't agree with, they think, oh, he's just a bandwagon Mayweather fan, or he's just a pack grower, or whatever the nickname, people like to give him, or whatever. But with that being said, this is what I think happened. Knowing the sport it's a business, right? So when you have negotiations, the champ gets call the shots usually. That's how it goes. The champ calls the shot. The challenger, either accepts the terms or he doesn't. So Mayweather is the big draw, right? Pacquiao isn't really the big draw. I mean, some people may not believe that, but it's true. Mayweather, you look at the numbers don't lie. Mayweather's drawing way more pay-per-view numbers than Pacquiao. So when you do negotiations, the person that's drawing the numbers, you drawing the most numbers, he gets the most, and then you compare it with the challenger, and he'll get according to what he's drawing. That's with every fight, not just this fight. You know what I mean? So I'm glad that he's finally speaking out about it, because it's a lot of things that people don't know that's been going on with this fight. It's not even the fighters. It's Bob Arum that's been stopping this fight. It's not that Mayweather's scared or Pacquiao scared. It's Bob Arum, behind the scenes. That's what it is, So, I'm glad the fight is finally about to happen, it seems like. But I never really was interested in the fight, if you ask me personally, because I never thought it was a competitive fight. That's just me being a fan. I always saw Mayweather dominating this fight.
I mean, one of the things for me that I saw that, trying to remember who he fought at the time. It was before the Canelo Alvarez fight, but it was still when they were talking about the Pacquiao fight. Even going before that, I felt Shane Mosley at the time was a tougher opponent than Pacquiao, just because of what Mosley brought to the table.
And you remember before that fight, I said that. Remember before that fight, I said that. I said he should fight Shane Mosley over Pacquiao. That would be a more dangerous fight for him. And exactly what I said to you is what played out in the fight. I said that Sugar Shane might hurt him in the beginning. If Sugar Shane has a chance to knock him out in the first round, if he doesn't, then Mayweather's gonna walk away with the fight easily. And you saw what happened in this fight. So, that's just coming from breaking down the fighters. But with Pacquiao, the reason why I don't think the fight is competitive is, okay, he has speed, he has power. You know, I mean, Pacquiao has skill. I'm a fan of Pacquiao now, don't get me wrong. I'm just breaking down what I see. His footwork, it's kind of sloppy at times, you know. He throws punches, he's off balance, and Mayweather's timing is like it's perfect. It's not even his speed. Timing is much better than speed. That's why people like Hopkins can last so long. It's his timing. They're not even using speed. Because boxing is a rhythm. So if a person's fighting and you just watching him, if he's bouncing back and forth on that back bounce, you can time yourself to hit him because he can't attack you when he's going on that back bounce. So if he's going like this in your head, a technical fighter, he's going boom, boom, boom. He's watching, okay, he's going back. When you go boom, you attack. As soon as he goes back, you go boom, boom. On that second boom, 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 you attack. So, you know what I mean? That's timing. You don't even need speed. You can do it slow and you'll catch the person because of timing, you know what I mean? These dudes mastered that. I think Mayweather's one of the greatest fighters ever, and that's big coming from me because you know I like a lot of fighters. And this guy, you know, it's crazy. He's a great fighter, man.
All right. So, of course, you got Mayweather winning by decision.
I think he could actually stop Pacquiao.
Because of the footwork.
Because, how do I explain this? I don't think that he's gonna be running away like people think he does. I think that, okay, he doesn't waste punches, is what he's doing. So it's not just running away. Like if you watch a fight where somebody's really running away, you'll see a big difference. You'll be like, wow, it's crazy. But what he's doing, he's moving, he's not wasting punches, and he's trying to time the right punch to get it in. So what I think he's gonna do is let Manny attack and, you know, get his shots off, make him miss, and catch him. And then when he's countering, when somebody counters you, what happens is it makes you hesitant. So what Mayweather does is, okay, he counters the person. He let them do what they want to do, and then he counters them. And then when they're getting that hesitant mind state, he's gonna start to walk them down. And then, like, the person's hesitating, so he's walking them down, and then he uses flinches. You know, they're already in the hesitant mind state, so now he flinches them out of whatever they're thinking initially, and then he's attacking them. But yeah, I think he could actually stop him. It depends on how fast Manny comes out and how much Manny wants to try and knock this guy out. If he tries to knock Mayweather out and he's too emotional, I think Mayweather will stop him easily.
So, some people talk about the whole rematch clause, like it would be great to get 2 fights from this.
It would.
But if the fight goes, well, I think it's an extremely easy fight for Mayweather. My biggest thing is footwork. That's why I keep bringing it up. It's like, because the type of technical boxer that Mayweather is, you coming there with sloppy footwork, it's like a done deal. Because number one, his movement alone is just gonna straight dominate the fight. And so, could that come off as being too overwhelming for a second fight?
If Mayweather wins, you mean?
If he wins?
Yeah. Well, if Mayweather wins and dominates the fight, then there's like nobody probably would want to see a rematch anyway. So yeah. But if Pacquiao wins, then a rematch is interesting. You know.
So with Mayweather winning in such a fashion like that, who would you like Mayweather's last fight to be against?
His last fight? Wow. Actually, I think there's more interesting fights out there besides a Mayweather fight than I think someone has to do something standing out to make a big fight with Mayweather that I would want to see. Nobody has done anything yet. Canelo was one of my biggest prospects to fight Mayweather, but I think they put him in there too soon. I actually think he has the skills to beat Mayweather. I think he just needs more time to, you know, train and hone his skills and get a little more focus, you know. But I mean, Canelo has some good skills, you know, but he has a lot of learning to do. I can't really think of anybody. Only thing, interesting fights I could think of would be for him to move up and fight maybe like a Triple G or something. I mean, that would be real interesting, but it's kind of like ridiculous to think that that type of fight could happen, but yeah.
So, man, give me like 3 fights right now with some opponents that, depending on that fight, how it goes, you may like to see with Mayweather.
3 fights right now? I mean, everybody's a little too, they're a little too early in their careers. Everybody that's on the up and coming, like Keith Thurman, I don't think he's ready yet. He's good, but I don't think he's ready yet. Alexander just lost. I thought he would, you know, one day be somebody, but somebody that could possibly fight Mayweather, but he just lost his fight against Amir Khan, which of course Amir Khan is still on the table. Who knows if they would fight, but Amir Khan is a fighter where I don't think he gets his just due, so seeing Mayweather fight him, I don't know if that does anything for Mayweather's legacy if he beats Amir Khan, because I think he's an underrated fighter. Everybody's talking about how people duck this person, duck that person. Amir Khan is a fighter that took any fight anywhere. He was the champ, and he was taking fights from the challenger in their hometown, you know, coming from Europe and taking these fights, but nobody even looks at that, you know, and they don't even acknowledge what Amir Khan has done. So if Mayweather even beats him, it'll be like, oh, so what, you know, he's this and that. And he was Manny's sparring partner too. So yeah, I don't think he'll get his just. That's an interesting fight, but I don't think to casual fans it would be a good fight.
Not enough action.
I think there'll be action, but it's just the name recognition.
Gotcha.
You know? I don't think casual fans, you know, would like that fight. So I don't know what pay-per-view numbers it will pull. Yeah. But another thing I wanted to talk about though, with Mayweather, a lot of people say he ducked fighters and stuff, but look, let me tell you something about this guy. Mayweather was ranked number 7 pound for pound fighter, right? At one point in his career. And he fought Diego Corrales, who was ranked number 7 pound for pound fighter.
Number 5?
Corrales was ranked number 5 and Mayweather was ranked number 7. Mayweather was the underdog at this time. I think he was a 6-5 underdog, to be exact, at this time. He was picked to lose the fight. It was the best boxing display you ever seen. If you want to see what boxing is all about, that's the fight to watch. Diego Corrales landed single digits in every round. It never had been done in CompuBox history, ever. And at the time, Corrales was 31-0 with like 27 knockouts. He had like a 95% knockout rate, and nobody wanted to fight Corrales. Nobody wanted to fight this guy, and Mayweather took this fight. But this is the guy everybody said was ducking. Now, what happened was, this kind of what paved Mayweather's career the way it is now. See, what happened was, such a dominant performance over another pound for pound fighter like that, it caused fighters not to want to fight Mayweather. But people think Mayweather didn't want to fight. But immediately after that fight, Mayweather wanted to fight Prince Nassim Hamed turned down the fight, didn't want to fight him. So he fought, I think, a guy named Carlos Hernandez, I think. And then he tried to fight, I think, Barrera after that. Barrera didn't want to fight this guy, which is one of the guys that Pacquiao beat and got his fame. Pacquiao got his fame mainly from two fighters. That's Barrera and Eric Morales. And this was at the prime of these guys' career that Mayweather tried to fight him and Barrera didn't want to fight him. Joel Casamayor, a legend, one of my favorite fighters, from back in the day, didn't fight Mayweather. Actually, that's who he tried to fight immediately after the Corrales fight. And Casamayor turned down the fight and fought the loser. He fought Corrales, and it still was a mistake because Corrales beat him. But yeah, Mayweather tried to fight all these guys. And then he went on to try to fight Costa Tszyu later on in his career. Yeah, I mean, if you're a boxing fan, you know about Costa Tszyu. I mean, he's the one who knocked out, what's his name? Zab. He's the one who knocked out Zab when Zab was at the top of his game. But Tszyu went on and fought Ricky Hatton later on, which Ricky Hatton dominated that fight. It was so surprising to the boxing world. But Ricky Hatton is good, but Mayweather came out and you saw what he did to Hatton. And I mean, he still didn't get his due. This is a super featherweight that moved up to these weight classes and did this, who had an 86% knockout rate before he moved up. But yeah, man, nobody wanted to fight. Even Sugar Shane, as a matter of fact. Sugar Shane didn't want to fight Mayweather. I wish I could remember the name of the guy that Sugar Shane fought, because after the fight, so people could look it up, because after the fight, Max Kellerman, I think it was, asked him about that. He said, so are you going to take a fight with Mayweather? And Sugar Shane said no. He said he had like a dentist appointment or something crazy. And I think Roy Jones was commentating at the time, and he just laughed. He was like, Sugar Shane doesn't want no part of this guy in his career right now. I was like, wow. People don't know this stuff, though, because, I mean, I'm a fan. I watch the sport, But if you go look it up, you'll find it yourself, you know what I mean? This guy never ducked anybody. He just couldn't get fights because of the performance that he did in the fight with Corrales, you know what I mean? When you do something like that to another pound-for-pound fighter, nobody's gonna want to put their fighter in there with you. That's just what it is, So all that ducking talk is just not true. It's not true.
Well, who you ducking? You still ducking me on Marvel vs. Capcom 2. But yeah, man, a lot of insight. Oh, actually, I remember when Mosley stepped up to Mayweather in a fight, when he wanted to fight Mayweather. Mm-hmm. Mayweather got mad and was saying, when I tried to fight you, you didn't want to fight me. I forgot which fight that was.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah. But people thought Mayweather was lying though when he said that. But Mayweather did try to fight him, and Sugar Shane turned it down. And matter of fact, Mayweather's whole career he was chasing De La Hoya. His whole goal in his career when he first turned pro was to fight De La Hoya, because the guy was a fan of De La Hoya. And he wanted to fight De La Hoya. He thought De La Hoya was so great. He thought it would be so great to beat De La Hoya. So his whole career was to move up and eventually fight De La Hoya. So this guy, he was not ducking anybody. He was looking to fight the best his whole career. As a matter of fact, some of the same people that talk bad about him, like the commentators, as far as the commentators, like Lampy and not so much Lampy, but Merchant. They was calling this guy the greatest fighter ever seen at the time, back then. Matter of fact, Emmanuel Stewart himself was watching a fight with Mayweather where Mayweather was fighting and he turned southpaw in the ring against the fighter. And Lampy was like, this guy, he turned southpaw like twice now. And Mayweather, in the middle of the fight, fighting the guy, he turned to Lampy, he said, no, it was 3 times. And but Emmanuel Stewart was breaking down that fight. He was telling them that this guy's so focused and so aware of his surroundings. He said in the history of his career, he's never seen anything like it. Even like Sugar Ray Leonard, and he was naming all the great fighters. he was saying Mayweather has a potential to be one of the best ever. He was saying even over Ali, that Mayweather has a chance to be one of the best ever. And I actually agree with that. I put him in my top 5, like surprisingly to some people. Yeah, I got him up there with Willie Pep, Ali. But anyway, I think Mayweather gonna dominate that fight if that fight ever does happen.
May 2nd, Las Vegas.
Hopefully, we'll see. We'll see.
No, May 2nd, Las Vegas. All right, man. We'll catch you next week. See how everything went.
All right.
Peace.